we have to ask ourselves, like, is this purpose driven? Like, what is the real reason that I would be taking on this opportunity or this collaboration? What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Let's Just Be Real podcast. I'm your host, Marissa Tong. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode this week. I hope you guys are enjoying your summer, enjoying your week, staying cool. It's been really hot outside, so hopefully y'all are in the AC, by the pool, by the beach, under a tree. I've recently discovered that like the best place to be on a hot ass day is under a tree. Like, the breeze, the shade, like, yes, please get me under a tree. But I hope that you guys are doing well. We are currently in our boss era series. So the entire month of July, we're going to be talking all things boss babe, entrepreneurship, owning a business, starting up a business, being a leader, running a team, all that good stuff. Okay. Stepping into your boss era. So today we're going to be talking all about setting boundaries. We're going to be talking about only saying yes or saying no to opportunities that are aligned, or collaborations, partnerships, all that good stuff that genuinely feels good. So first, let's talk about boundaries, because this is honestly one of my favorite topics. If you know me, if you know, you know, we've had previous episodes, I want to say like one or two about boundaries. And I think when we are talking specifically about like entrepreneurship and we're talking about running your own business, there's gonna be a lot of opportunities to collaborate or to take jobs, right? To work with other people, to give talks on panels, right? Whatever your field is, right? There's going to be endless opportunities, especially when you start networking, especially when you start meeting other entrepreneurs, other business owners, other people in your field and your industry who are doing similar things. So something that I've had to learn over the years is to be very selective, right? And not super selective where I'm turning down every opportunity or I don't want to work with anybody and I'm just like, no. But I've had to learn to be selective with my energy based on what's really aligned, like what really makes sense at this time, right? Whether that is the opportunity, is this opportunity aligning with my goals, my future self, with what I'm currently putting out into the world, also with the things that I'm currently doing. Like, am I taking on too much, right? Sometimes we might feel like, especially in early on, you know, in our career, in our business, when we're starting off as a business owner or as an entrepreneur, we might feel more inclined to say yes to more opportunities or to say yes to more collaborations because we feel like it's a smart move. And yes, there are definitely opportunities, collaborations, jobs, gigs, opportunities, you know, that are going to be great for us, but that doesn't mean everything's great for you, right? So really considering, right? Considering what is this opportunity going to bring to me? So there's 3 P words that I want us to consider when we're thinking about taking an opportunity for a job or collaboration, okay? And we can write these words down. I think it's very smart to write these words down, and we can always go back to them when we are making a decision, okay? So the first word is going to be purposeful. Ask yourself, is this purposeful? Like, is this aligned with my purpose, with what I'm trying to put out in the world, with my passions, right? With the person that I truly am, with the gifts that I have, the talents that I have, my mission statement in my job, right? Or my career, my business, whatever it is. We have to ask ourselves, like, is this purpose driven? Like, what is the real reason that I would be taking on this opportunity or this collaboration? So that's one. The second word is going to be profit, okay? Is this something that is profitable? Am I going to make money from this? And I'm not saying that the yes or the no has to be the determining factor, because honestly, it's up to you, right? You might have an opportunity that sounds really, really good, right? And the money sounds really, really good. But at the end of the day, like, it's not something that you really see yourself doing or something that you really want to do, right? We have to think about, like, also what makes us feel good. Like, for me, being a generator, if you guys know anything about like human design, and you guys can check out previous episode that I had a human design expert on the show. You guys can go back and listen to that when you're done with this episode if you want to. But, you know, as a generator, like, a lot of my yes or no comes from my gut, right? My sacral. So knowing what feels like a full body yes and then knowing what feels like a full body no is very important to me. Not everybody might feel the same. Not everybody might get the same impulses or like intuitive feelings, right? But I think it's still important for us to really get in tune with ourselves. I talk a lot on the podcast about the importance of getting to know yourself, the importance of really understanding your why, really understanding what you want, right? So if you're unclear on those things, you're going to be more likely to just take up any opportunity that comes your way because you feel like you should, right? Or to work with anybody because you feel like, oh, they have a great following on Instagram or they seem like they're successful in their business, right? Assumptions. We tend to assume things about people, or we tend to assume things about people's business, or we tend to assume things about their work ethic, right? Where actually, right, in reality, like it might not be a good fit. So we really have to take the time to sit down and like write down the pros and cons, right? Pros and cons of this. So the last P word is going to be productive. Is this productive? Is this making me feel productive? Is this adding to my productivity? Is this opportunity or this collaboration going to push me forward, right? Like, is it going to be productive? Yes or no? Like, it's a simple question, right? And when we think about like productivity, you have to really define what that looks like for you. Some people like do not have the same definition for productivity. Like for me, being productive might be like, okay, cool. Like I did 3 tasks today and those were really big tasks that I got done. For someone else, it might be like, okay, I got 10 tasks done today. And those were like more small micro tasks, but they were really important as well. So it really just depends on you. It depends on your energy levels. It depends on your goals. It depends what a typical day looks like for you, right? So writing down those 3 P words, I'm going to say them again. So purpose, profit, and productivity. So think about those 3 things whenever you are presented with an opportunity or whenever you're thinking about presenting an opportunity to someone else, right? As well, like, is this someone that I really want to work with? Is this an opportunity that I really want to take? Is it worth it to me, right? Is it worth my time? You also have to think about where you are in your career at this time. Am I in a place where I am going to benefit from working with different people? Am I at a place where I'm going to benefit more by working with myself? Am I just starting my business? Do I need to focus more on what I'm offering? Do I need to focus more on my education? Do I need to focus more on creating relationships, right? Networking, maybe not saying yes to those collaborations, but maybe just putting myself out there to meet people. And also something I want to say is like, take your time. You do not have to feel rushed to get back to people quickly, right? If they're offering to work with you, like give yourself some time to actually think about it. Give yourself some time to ponder it, to visualize it, right? To think about like, is this something that I really want? Is this something that's going to make sense to me? Is this something that's going to make sense for my business? And then also, aside from the whole collaboration opportunity thing, like I think just setting boundaries in general surrounding like how quickly we get back to people. So that could be getting back to people via text, getting back to people via email, DMs on Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever you communicate with people, right? We have to be able to give ourselves time to reply back, right? When we are ready. So a good example of that would be, okay, maybe I am working on my accounting today and I peep an email that came from one of my clients about switching to another class or booking a private session, something that is completely unrelated to the task that I'm currently working on. So if I decide to answer that person as soon as I see that email, right, I'm now going to distract myself from the task that I was working on and the task that I was focused on instead of just waiting, right? Waiting till my time is a little freed up, waiting until I'm able to focus on that task, right? Because I think a lot of the times we think that we can multitask. And I think it's definitely possible to multitask, but to be completely honest with you, like something I've learned over the years is like, it's better to just give your full time and attention to one task, to one thing at a time. Give it your all, give it your full attention, right? Like, when we're talking to someone, if we're having a conversation with someone, if I'm having dinner with someone, I think it would be giving that person as well as myself a disservice to be sitting there on my phone trying to post on Instagram or whatever the case, unless we have that mutual understanding or whatever the case, or unless like I'm saying, okay, I'm sorry. Like, I just need to post something really quickly. If that's the case, right? If it's really that important. But try to give yourself time on different tasks, right? Allow yourself time to focus on one thing at a time, one person at a time, one connection at a time, one conversation at a time. Okay. And set boundaries for yourself. And I'm not saying like you need to purposely ignore people's text messages or emails or don't get back to people for days. I'm not saying that, but give yourself structure and time and boundaries. Like, it's okay to give yourself time to reply back to someone. Maybe you need to think about the answer before you get back to them. Maybe you need to ask your partner about whatever it is that person is asking. Like, whether that's a business partner or a romantic relationship, right? Sometimes we might just need extra counsel, right? Extra advice from someone. So give yourself time. Do not feel rushed to get back to people. People will understand 8 times out of 10. Okay. I'm going to leave the 2 because there are some people who are very impatient and don't understand, like, hey, give me some time. Like, I'm working on other things, especially as an entrepreneur. Like, you are going to be juggling a lot of things. So you have to be able to structure your time and set boundaries, set proper boundaries where you're not feeling like you're so stretched and you're being pulled in multiple directions just because you need to answer someone, or you have these people pleasing tendencies, or you think that people are going to be mad at you for not responding in time. Like, and what is in time? Right? Even with this podcast, like, there's some days where the podcast is not going to come out in the time that I would have liked it to, but it's still going to come out, right? And I'm sure that there's listeners on the show that look forward to hearing the podcast right as soon as they wake up. Like, usually I'll publish the podcast to go out 4 a.m. So wherever you are in the world, right, you should be able to either just wake up and hear the podcast, or you might be, midday, afternoon, depending on where you guys are. I know you're everywhere in the world. So it's wonderful. I love that you guys look forward to the podcast. I know some of you guys do, but sometimes, like, I just am not able to put it out at the time that I thought I would, and taking on all the tasks that I do, I have to have patience and grace with myself, going back to our previous episode, right? Having grace with myself, having patience to understand, okay, it is what it is. You're doing your best. We're going to try better next time. But today, this is what we're getting, right? It's still getting put out, it's still getting produced. And I briefly want to go back to collaborating with people, right? When we are thinking about collaborating with people, you really have to take a look at where other people are currently in their life and their career, right? It could either be an equally yoked opportunity where you guys are both bringing something to the table, where you're both benefiting, right? Where you both might have similar experience. Or it could be a situation where it's not equally yoked, right? Where one person is putting in way more work, right? This person is putting in way more effort, and the other person may not be doing that. So we have to really think about these things. Like, what is their work ethic like, right? Going back to that, what's their work ethic like? How do they show up for themselves? How do they show up for their business? How are they doing in their business? Do they feel like they're successful? Do they feel like they are where they want to be, right? Because sometimes when we're working with people and they might not feel like they're where they need to be, a lot of the times it's gonna create this codependency where now they're depending on you to lift them up, to level them up, to make this event something huge, right? And I'm not saying that's always going to be the case, and I'm also not saying that we shouldn't work with people who have less experience or less time being in business. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying we have to make sure our values, our work ethic, our reason, right, our purpose for doing all the things and for working together align. It has to make sense. It has to make sense for both parties. Definitely use your intuition to be able to guide you to make decisions on whether or not opportunities and collaborations are right for you. Like, I like to give myself time. Usually if something is proposed to me, or if I'm thinking about proposing something to someone, I'll take a couple days to really think about it. I'll meditate on it. I'll journal on it. I'll pray on it, So, like, we don't need to feel inclined to quickly make big decisions, because sometimes being impulsive in your business is not really a good look. Like, we don't want to just be out here like saying yes just because, like telling people, yeah, I can do that, taking on way too much. Think about what you currently have on your plate, what you want on your plate, and what also needs to be removed off of your plate, right? Really use your intuition, really use your inner guidance system, really figure out where you are, get clear, get honest with yourself about where you currently are. And the last thing that I want to talk about here when it comes to boundaries is being able to say no to anything outside of business, right? So this could be outings, this could be family outings, friend outings, people inviting you to parties, people asking you to come out for a drink, people asking you, anything, right? It doesn't have to just be work related. Sometimes we just have to set boundaries based on how we're currently feeling. So for instance, my Saturdays are usually devoted to myself, to resting, to recovering, right, from the week. The week I'm teaching a lot of classes. So Saturday is usually like, it's a me day. It's a self-care day. And Saturdays are also the day where most people are off and most people have parties or events or whatever. So like in the past, I've definitely turned down events and parties and outings because I was tired, because I was drained, because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to show up as my best self. So I'd be doing everyone a disservice by showing up tired and, not in a good mood and not really wanting to be there and feeling resentful that I didn't just stay home. So we have to be able to, again, get in touch with ourselves, right? Really take a scan of how you're feeling. Really take a scan of what you want. We have to be able to feel good when we are agreeing to things. We can't just be out here saying yes to any and everything. It's not going to make you feel good. So set those boundaries. Don't feel bad for saying no. Do not feel bad for doing what's best for you. Yes, someone might feel some type of way that you said no or that you turned down their invitation, but usually if that's the case, if they're really that upset, that means that they don't really care about you. They're not really concerned about your well-being. If I sit here and I tell my friend, like, I'm sorry, I'm so tired and drained, I just can't make it, and they're upset with me, like, it just shows me they're a little selfish, and I'm also being a little selfish. They might think I'm being selfish as well by saying no, but we have to honor ourselves. We have to honor our boundaries, and people will respect you. Even if they don't at first, they will respect you. So I just want to encourage you to set proper boundaries. Don't be afraid to say no. Also, don't be afraid to say yes, okay? Take on those opportunities. Say yes to those collaborations, but make sure they feel good. Make sure that it's aligned. Take the time to really think about it, meditate on it, take the time, take the space, make sure you're taking care of yourself. I'm a self-care queen, honey. Okay. So hope this episode was helpful to you this week, and take some notes. Don't forget to write down those 3 P words. If you guys are interested in mentorship, I do have my applications open right now for business mentorship. So whether you are an aspiring business owner, entrepreneur, whether you already have your own business or you're trying to relaunch something or you're pivoting, whatever it is that you want to work on, fill out the application. Let's see if it's a good fit. Okay. I'm really excited to take on some new clients this year. And if you guys are watching on YouTube, hit that like button. Okay. Don't forget to subscribe, drop a comment. Let me know what you thought of this episode. And if you guys are listening on audio, drop a rating, drop a comment. Let us know what you thought of this episode on Spotify, and follow us over on Instagram, RiskFit Kitty. Let's just be real pod. And we'll see you guys in another episode. Take care, y'all. Bye.